and welcome to A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. A very, very warm welcome to all of you who are listening. Now, I think what's sort of so sad at the moment, obviously, is that we've got this horrendous illness that is spreading around the globe. I'm in the UK, and we're now officially sort of on a sort of a bit of a lockdown. We're allowed to go out to the supermarket, or we're allowed to go and go to a chemist, and and that's it. Oh, and if we're supposed to help somebody else, we're allowed to be in those and anything else. Oh, and we're allowed to walk to a park on our own, and be 6 feet away from anyone else. So yes, it's we're isolating, and a friend of mine calls it socially isolating, because we chat on the video calls and things like that. But I think the most important thing is that we all keep safe, and that we all have access to food and things like that, which I pray regularly that we can do. I also, as a healer, I look to help people with healing wherever I can. And if anybody needs to be placed on my healing list, do contact either through the radio show or through my Facebook page, or which is Gail Moffat, and just ask for the healing, because I am sending out healing to all the people that are victims of the coronavirus, and I think that's quite important. And we must remember, though, that first and foremost we need to stay safe and sort of isolate as much as we can. And I think it's sort of quite sort of funny how what sort of how much far away we have to be from each other, the 6 feet. So that's sort of quite interesting, isn't it? Should we go out with the tape measure? But I just think it's sort of, imagine it's a tall man, and then that's the distance that you need to be apart from each other. And if you're any closer, then it's not so good. Now, before I sort of always start, I always like to do sort of a little bit of a sort of spiritual little talk, and I sort of touched on the idea of healing, and so I touched on the idea of healing, and I wanted to sort of say how healing for all of us, that work on this radio, the psychics and the mediums, and those people that are out in the world that are mediums and psychics, we all need to sort of be together. We need to be sort of sending out healing to as many people as we can, and use the spiritual energy that we have. I think that is so important that we do that, and to sort of mainly help as many people as we can. Because I was thinking, it's not just the people that it's hard enough, isolating, and I live on my own, so I'm on my own isolating, which is really strange, because I'm always sort of out and about and meeting up with people and doing things, so it's it's an unusual concept for me, and I think that so but there are people, what brought my thoughts came to those people that perhaps are used to going to, say, AA meetings or NA meetings, and are unable to access them because of the group meetings, that sort of supporting them in their addictions. And I'm sort of thinking about those people that are perhaps struggling with domestic violence, and then they're forced into a situation to be living alongside the person that is very much the person that is causing the violence within their relationship, and those places that house people to protect them, they probably have sort of, I'm assuming that they've perhaps closed their doors on the people. So it's those vulnerable people that I sort of really have compassion about. I also have heard about where people in this country, where people have had operations cancelled because they haven't got the facilities to deal with, other operations. So perhaps these are operations that are, serious, or perhaps I don't know. I don't know the details of them. But what I do know is that operations are being cancelled, and I think that's that's something that's quite sad, because somebody that may be frustratingly waiting for that operation, and then the time comes and it's being cancelled. I know in the UK there's a huge burden on the National Health Service, which is we have a social health care system, and I know that there is the beginnings of a big burden, and there is a great deal of concern, and that's why we've been put on this lockdown, so that we can sort of ease the burden from the NHS as much as possible. And I think, what I was thinking of is, whilst we're isolated, what's really important is to think about what we can do with our time. And I think that, one of the things that I'm doing is I sit in that space, in that power, connected to spirit. And for those people that are mediums and psychics, they can perhaps do that as well. And I also think that, sort of, enhance our spiritual work. And I know that lots of people I've seen on Facebook are doing sort of, free readings and things like that. And I know that you can, access free readings through A1R Psychic Radio, which is fantastic, because they have some amazing, readers that work on here. And I think sort of, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm trying to read the Bible, and because we have the time that we wouldn't normally have. And isn't that interesting? It's like, we live in this fast-paced life, and we're on the go and have to get up early, go out to work, come back, collect the kids, feed the dogs, and all whatever we have to do, and we're running around, and we never have time to contemplate and I know it's often talked about in this country that the best mediums that existed were around the turn of the century, because they didn't have television or computers or telephones. And what they do is they clear the dinner table, and then they'd sit for spirit. And so they had that experience, night after night. And we, in our fast-paced world, we seem to not have that time. And I think that this time is just sort of so, in a weird way, it would be nice to sort of, get back to sort of that sitting for spirit and speaking to spirit. And so I hope that helps. Now, I know that we have some callers waiting. I believe I have Carol in Vancouver, Washington. Are you there, Carol?
I am.
Hello, and how are you this evening, or this afternoon in Vancouver, isn't it?
Yeah, it's noon. Yeah, okay.
I'm having a little bit of trouble in hearing you. But what I would, I'm a medium, and I can connect to loved ones, or I can look at aspects of your life. Is there a particular way that you would like me to work?
A loved one.
Okay, and who is that in particular? Because we've only got a few minutes to work.
My grandson.
Your grandfather.
My grandson.
Oh, your grandson. Sorry, grandson.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. I've got a young person that's coming forward, but I'm also getting this person is coming with an older lady that's in spirit, and I feel that this older lady is supporting and helping him in this communication, because I feel that he's a little bit apprehensive or a little bit nervous about doing this, and I'm being told that she is the one that's helping him, and I feel that this is either I feel it feels like either a great grandmother or would I be right in saying that your mother is in spirit?
My mom.
Yeah.
Her name is Dolores.
And is she in spirit?
She is, yes.
Yes, because I feel very strongly that he your grandson has come in with your mother, and they've come in together, and she's supporting him. And what I'm being told is that he's quite emotional with this experience. I feel that he's showing me his emotions, and I get the feeling very strongly that he is almost like he's got a lot to sort of explain, or a lot to answer for, or a lot there's an embarrassment of what has gone on and what's happened. Would that make sense to you?
It does, yes.
And
Yes.
he's trying to sort of apologize to you for not being there for you or supporting you in your life at the latter end of his life, because he makes me feel like he was engaged in sort of like another world, another aspect of his life. And
Yes.
he's also, and he's because he makes me feel like you had two grandsons. You had the younger version and then the older version, and the older version wasn't necessarily the pleasant version. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
And he's apologizing to you for not being, almost like, because he says that throughout his life you showed him so much love and so much support, and he's making me feel like he took advantage of you, or took advantage of your good nature. And he's saying to me that he's really apologetic for being that person, and doing that, and he's ashamed, he's embarrassed of what he became, and who the person he became. And and he's also sort of holding his hands up, and he says that, I am responsible for my almost like it's my own fault that I've passed to spirit. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
And he feels like he's saying to me, I feel like a fool and an idiot, that I sort of almost like went into this way of life, and this way of being, and I did, and he's saying I didn't consider anyone else. I didn't think about other people's needs. It's like I became this selfish person, and it was all about me. He's saying it's all about me, and he's apologizing to you for again for not being there in your life, and not supporting you. He's saying to me that there was a conversation that you had where you were pleading with him to sort of to sort of almost like trying to get him to sort of see sense, and sort of to trying to help him, and he didn't take any notice. Would that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
And he says that, since he's been in spirit, your words have been ringing around in his mind, sort of that he just says he wishes so much that he listened to your words, and almost like took up your advice and took up your help and support. And he says that you tried so hard to get him on the straight and narrow, and he just didn't listen, and he feels like, what an utter fool I was, how silly I was, he's saying to me. But he's also saying to me that this doesn't mean that because of my actions, it doesn't mean that now that I'm in spirit and now that I'm here, this doesn't mean that I don't have love for you. And I realize everything that you've done for me, and realize how you've supported me, and realize that you were almost like the best grandmother that I could have had. And he's so apologetic and sorry for what he's done. And he's just saying, I love you. Did he call you Nan?
he was like my son.
Yeah, but did he call you Nan as opposed to Grandma or Granny
Call me
or?
Grandma.
He called you Grandma. Okay, because
No,
I thought
he calls me.
Okay, I can hardly hear you, but so I'll just carry on. But I just get that feeling that he's just very, very apologetic, and he really wants to make that so clear to you that he wants to thank you for everything that you've done for him, and saying you're the best grandmother in the world, and he just wants to say he loves you, and he's also thanking you for taking the plunge to connect in this way, because he makes me feel like you were hesitant or nervous about doing this, and he's thanking you for coming forward and communicating with through this way, and he just keeps on saying, I love you, I love you.
Can you tell him I love him?
Yeah, he can hear you. He can hear you. Oh. And he says that he will never forget what you've done for him in his life. Never, ever. So thank you very much, Carol, for calling in. I hope that helps. If you need to speak to me further, find me on Facebook. My name is Gail Moffat. Right, I believe we have Shauna in Bristol, in the UK. Yeah. Shauna, is that correct? Marvelous. Yeah, I've got the right pronunciation. It's it's always a worry, isn't it, that I call somebody something else. Now, I am I am a medium, and I can connect to loved ones in spirit, or I can help give some guidance from my guides. Is there a particular area where you'd like me to focus?
The first one.
I can just hardly hear you.
The spirit one.
The spirit one.
Hello.
Okay. And who would you like me to connect to?
Nan, please.
Your mum. Okay.
No, my nan. Nan.
Your nan. Did you say nan?
My nan. Yeah, nan.
Okay. Okay. Nan. Right. Okay. I've suddenly got a song that has come into my mind, and sometimes spirit use songs with me, and I've got a feeling they did this same song with somebody else, and that's really weird that that's happened. But I'm getting this song, and it's coming through quite clearly with me, and it's. Do you know the song? It's "You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine."
Yeah, I know that song. Yeah.
Because I'm getting that song, and I know that song. I feel like the lyrics are relevant to you, and I feel like I'm getting that from spirit, and I feel that I'm hearing "You Are My Clever Girl," and I feel that your grandmother was very like almost like proud of you for your achievements, because she's making me feel as though you achieved so much more than, say, other people in your family, and she's, so I feel like she really is sort of proud of your achievements, and she's also showing me some flowers, and I feel like you organized some specific flowers for her at the funeral, and I feel like they may have had sort of writing on them, maybe sort of like Nan. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
And they look like they're white flowers as well.
White flowers.
I feel like
they were white.
Yeah, and they look like they're carnations as well.
Carnations,
I feel like they may have had. right, okay, I might be able to do this, Shauna. and I know that she's really touched by the flowers, because on it, next to it, I feel like there was some writing or a card or something, and in the card, it's I feel like you wrote like, you're the best nan ever. You're like that. Like, I couldn't have done life without you, and thanking her for being in your life. And I feel, does that make sense to you when I say that?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And she's saying to me that she's she makes me feel like she's so proud of you, and it's almost like she's putting a pen in my hand, and I know that this pen is to sort of almost like write. Now, sometimes spirit give me the pen, and then we use the computer. So bear with me. We're talking on an old-fashioned way, but it could be that on the computer. And she's making me feel like you are in the process of either writing letters or writing to people. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And she says that I feel like this is all about your sort of next stage in your life. It feels like you're looking to be accepted. I feel like you're looking to be accepted into an environment, and I don't know which environment, whether that's a sort of like an academic institute, or whether that's a work institute, or I'm not sure which one it is, but I just get that feeling of wanting to be accepted into an environment, which will, if you get accepted into this environment, it will leapfrog you into almost like a better place in your life. It will, and your nan is, I'm getting this all from your nan. She's saying to me how, like, she's so proud of you, and she says that she says that you put in the hours, and you put in the hard work, and you've worked so hard, and she says that she wishes that other people in your family would have taken a leaf out of your book, because she says that you are like a shining light to everyone, to show people what you can achieve.
Can you ask her if she can see that I'm very helpful to people?
Can I ask her, sorry?
If she can see that I'm helpful, like, to the rest of the family.
If she can see that you help the rest of the family?
Yeah, I want to know if she knows that I help the rest of the family, like, when they need something done.
Right. She's, in answer to that, she's telling me that you're very clever, and because of how clever you are, you use your mind in a really positive way. And she's saying to me that you have, she makes me feel like you're charitable in your family, and she makes me feel like that she's drawing my attention. Do you have a brother in your family?
Yeah, I have 3 brothers. Yeah, but
okay, because I'm drawn to a male in your family, and I'm drawn to your brothers, and she makes me feel like you have certainly one of them, you've had to sort of take on a lot of responsibility to support one of the brothers. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And I'm also being drawn to the fact that she's just saying how proud she is of you for doing that, and she's saying to me that also, I feel that there is some relatives that are outside of your nuclear family that have tried to support you because they have sort of felt that you needed support because it's almost like you're burdening or shouldering a lot of things in your life. Does that make sense to you? Okay, I can't hear Shona, but what I will say is that so I'm just going to finish my words with Shona. She is somebody that is certainly helping her brothers, and she's also helping many people in her family. But I feel like aunts or uncles are sort of helping her, which is a really good thing. So I want to thank you, Shona, if you're listening to this later, for calling in, and just want you to know that your grandmother is so proud of you for everything that you've done and achieved. It's like you are a shining light in the family. She makes that very, very clear. So thank you for calling in. So now. But those people that are still listening to the show, I just want to say, be safe and wash your hands. Stay 6 feet away. Listen to the advice, and stay in as much as possible so that we can combat this and get through this and come out the other side. And lots of spiritual love. And don't forget, anybody that needs healing, contact me, and I'll put you on my healing list. So thank you for everything. Goodbye.